It hasn't. You look dead. It's been a one hectic week, eh?
Yeah, I think I haven't had coffee yet today, so that's one.
Uh,
And that breakfast was unexpectedly a bit heavy. Like I didn't like the breakfast that I just had.
so now
I
you
thought
want to
like,
go to
yeah, I was
sleep.
just gonna have a avocado toast and eggs, and that will be fine. But I need something to pick me up. But no, I mean, you went into a couple events, one more event than us.
Yeah, I went to sports day today with my daughter. Is that the one that
Yes, that's
that
the
you're
one.
talking about?
Yeah, sports day for a 1 year old. How what is that all
So
about?
there's a bunch of kids that are running around playing a hopscotch and all that stuff.
That's enough about you, but what about your baby?
Well, she
Did you win any cups?
got a medal
Nice.
that she tried
For
to
showing up?
put in her mouth immediately.
Ah.
But but what you meant were the cigar events this week. Was that what you meant?
Technically, yeah.
Technically, yes.
I mean, it's a cigar podcast. We smoke cigars. We talk about cigars. I wouldn't be talking about a sports event for a 1 year old. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, it's been a crazy week. I'd say there's a launch of Carrillo on Monday. I think also on Monday was the launch of the Placencia as well.
Yeah.
And on Tuesday there was the launch of the Amarati by Oliva.
Yeah.
As well.
And that was here at the Vintage Lounge.
Yep.
Here in Barsha, in between Mall of Emirates and Dubai House Mall. That was the launch of there's 3 new Churchills that they've launched, and it's a collaboration between Amarati Cigars and Oliva Cigars, and there's 3 different blends. One is light medium, the second one's about medium, and the third one's on the heavier side.
And each one has its own name, right? The blend.
That's
Yeah. So it was
I think
the Masters, Prime,
the finale.
and the finale.
So there's 3 different blends, all Churchill sizes for now. And me and Twalham smoked the Prime.
We had the Prime, which
Yeah, I had
was
the-
really enjoyable.
Yeah,
Really
I had the
enjoyed it.
Masters. I enjoyed it, but I think I should have gone for the Prime as well.
Yeah.
And you know, the finale is something that we actually should smoke at one point, where it's actually the final thing in our day, because it is
Yeah.
a heavy one.
It's a heavy one. I think it'll be a perfect smoke just after like a steak or something. Yeah, I feel like you
We
need
can
like
do cigars and steak. And
yeah,
smoke that one.
and I feel it would be perfect. And but the Masters, it felt because we with the event was in the evening, it felt that the Masters might be maybe a bit of like a morning smoke, like
Yeah.
with a coffee or something. And me and Omar I got the Prime, and I think it was a winner. It was honestly one of the like most enjoyable smokes I've had in a while. One of the of very few where the sweet notes were very kind of easily recognizable on my
Yeah.
palate at least.
So that's why we wanted to bring a selection of cigars today. We wanted to it represents the cigar community that we've all been part of over the last week. The Palencia represents the cigar event Leaf Masters had at the Churchill Cigar Lounge in the Four Seasons in DIFC. Then EP Carrillo was, I believe, as part of the Casa del Habano event that they had at the
In La
ICD
Nina.
Brookfield.
Yeah, in La Nina. For the followers of our Instagram, I was there with the camera. I'm not the best with with the equipment, but I tried my best that day.
You took a nice picture with Jason.
We took some nice pictures with Jassim. I met some very interesting people as well. It generally it was a bit of a there was live music. It was outdoors. It was an enjoyable event. But like you both know, I enjoyed my smokes in a setting exactly like this. It's a lot easier to get the notes and stuff. In these events, because of the noise and the people, and it's more about basically getting to like know the community, getting to conversations and meeting people while enjoying a smoke.
And the third one is the Amirati by Oliva. All three of us were at the event. It was a Cuban night. They had Cuban singers, dancers, and it was really enjoyable because it was three of us, plus we had three guests with us. So it was a nice conversation. We had 6 people smoking the Oliva Emirati cigars, and it was a really fun night. We were here till about midnight. So
Oh, no way.
No, really.
I think I left it around 11ish.
Yeah.
10:30, 11. Yeah, I had. That was like that's because we came from work straight up here, and you know, I'm still not. I think I'm still not that. Let's say into the effects of nicotine when it comes to a Churchill. It really got to me. Like, and in the end, I was like, I just need to go sleep. I don't know I just need to go sleep. And the thing is, the moment I left here, I just wanted like a big heavy meal. I was feeling like I need to go eat something that is like greasy. Like I need like a Five Guys burger.
Yeah.
After this.
What did you have?
Nothing. I just went home and my wife was already like kind of half asleep, and my parents were there as well. So I picked them up from my grandma's place and went there, and everyone was like already full, and I'm like, I don't like eating by myself. So I just slipped it off.
Bro, I can eat by myself any day of the week. If I'm hungry, I need to eat.
Every time I call you, you're eating. I know.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So I was just looking
I'm
into
snacking.
the effects of nicotine actually from the cigars. Basically makes you feel a little bit sleepy because it relaxes you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's one of the joys of going to these cigar events is you can sit there, you've got a couple of hours to just smoke the cigar, have conversations with your friends, and it puts you into a relaxing mood, especially after having worked all day, having worked all week. It's a lovely way to just sit and
Does it make you hungry
basically.
though?
wind down.
Or does it make you hungry?
Yeah, well, so where we are in Vintage, they have a restaurant as well, Quinn's.
Yeah, that's
and,
true.
They were supplying the food that night. So
It was a pretty enjoyable the canopy that they had.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
yeah, it was really nice.
But I don't know. I felt like more of like a cigars and steak kind of guy that night after the church. I was like, I need something heavy like that. Small bites don't go well with me when I'm smoking such a cigar.
Yeah.
So I needed like.
So I just had an idea. So Quinn's, the restaurant, which is part of Vintage, I'm going to talk to them. Let's do a steak and cigar night.
Yes.
Yeah,
And that's where
in
we can do the
Ramadan.
finale.
In Ramadan, it will be a nice kind of a suhoor.
Yeah, because they mentioned
Kind
that
of
they
a
are
thing.
also planning to do a brunch kind of thing.
That's right.
So they will have brunches where it's part of the package where you smoke a cigar as well. I'm really looking forward to that, and that's back to the part of the whole cigar community. I think a lot of people are doing things that are kind of moving around. Cigars. We're seeing more and more people smoking cigars. We're seeing more and more shops, branches opening up when it comes to lounges, when it comes to retailers. I think that just community is gonna grow bigger and bigger every day.
Yeah, I think Leaf Master just opened up a new shop in the Rosewood in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
And I think it's been nominated for a prize
Nice.
Oh, really?
already, yeah.
It looks amazing.
It looks incredible in the pictures.
It looks really nice.
We should one of these days take a trip, go check it out.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. to
Yeah,
just,
if you make the time.
Yeah, it's been it's been just busy at work and at home, and honestly, these shoots are the time that I kind of like look forward to on my calendar.
He just gave the idea of let's go there, and he killed it. He didn't even wait like 30 minutes.
No,
He
like
just
we
killed
can
the
like
idea.
business trip, just pass by kind of thing. We'll see.
Yeah.
So, do you guys want to jump into what we're gonna smoke today?
So Tolam's being our cigar expert.
Yeah.
He's gonna choose
So
out of the 3 options that we have.
So out of the 3 options, I decided that we should try the Pledge Prequel by EP Carrillo. It's a cigar I've had my eye on for a while. I've never smoked it. I don't think that the guys here have smoked it either. It won Cigar of the Year in 2020. This was around a time I started smoking, 2020, I'd say 2020 to 2021. And I've never had the chance to smoke, so I'm very, very excited to kind of try it on the pod.
No, I've never smoked a box pressed cigar in my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's honestly one of my favorite shapes.
I think the art that goes into doing those, and also the placencias, they call it the hexagon.
Yeah.
I've never smoked a hexagon cigar.
Yeah, it's just, it looks stunning, and I don't know. For me, it looks like it took ages for them to perfect that kind of shape, and rolling it must be like really one of the hardest things.
So that's why these kind of awkward shapes, only certain rollers can actually roll them. I've actually been watching some really interesting cigar videos this morning, and one of them was about Cuban cigars. It was Kirby Allison talking about Behike cigars, and first he interviewed the Sahakians in London about the Behike, the history of it.
In David of London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he went to the Cohiba factory and spoke to the co-presidents of Cohiba and their history, talking about the Behike. And what Edward Sahakin was saying was that in 2005, 2006, he was informed that Cohiba are going to bring out a special edition Cohiba, and it's going to have the best tobacco from the best Cuban fields, and it's going to be rolled by one person.
All of the
Yeah, they're only going to be rolled by one person. So they're all interested, like, how are we going to get it? How are we going to get the stock? And then he got word from the distributor for the UK. I think it's called Hunters. And they said, what we're planning is to launch one box of Behikis that's going to be custom made. Will have your name on it, and you can only order one per retailer.
one per retailer.
Yeah. So he said, okay, I want it for myself. So he still has it, and he showed it, and it was I had about, I think it has about 20, 30 cigars in it, and each one has been selling for over £1,000 each now.
Wow.
But now they're none for sale because nobody's selling them.
Yeah, you can't. That's like something that's a collectible, basically.
Yeah, it's like an heirloom at this point.
Yeah.
And what he's saying is he showed the box. He's not spoke to a single one, but he was showing that they all look the same because it's all been rolled by this one
But
woman.
that's the thing. If you have a box like that, wouldn't you be tempted to just smoke one cigar just to try it out? Like, why did you buy it? So
Yeah.
that you collect it, and then the die you pass,
I think
it goes to someone else. Like, you're not gonna even enjoy it.
we were actually discussing this at the Emirati at launch with the guests that we had. I think that the occasion on which you choose to smoke a certain cigar in your collection plays a big part in the choice that you make. So we were talking about, so if a person would have a cigar like that, he'll probably smoke it on a very, very special occasion of their life, and it's more about when you choose to smoke it, because I think tobacco, like with most things, that there's a certain kind of how can I say this, like just because it's more expensive, it doesn't mean it's twice as good as a cigar that's
No,
half
100%.
that price.
It's
You know
just
what I mean?
because it has a
There's
story behind it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That got it into that price.
100%.
point. Yeah.
And then after they launched that box, that big humidor box, they then like 4 years afterwards launched the Behike 52, 54, 56, and those were then brought out into the market, and those are still obviously very well sought after.
Yeah, I think they're like always marked as like the best cigars out there.
Exactly. In the UK right now, it's, one of them selling for like £500 each.
With the nose of this, I want to know what you guys are getting. With me, just two notes are dominating on my nose with this.
I'm getting Barnyard.
That's my first note. It's really heavy on the Barnyard.
I'm
A
gonna
bit
say
leather.
And leather. It's
Yeah.
leathery.
with leather.
It's really leathery.
I'm starting to get them right. Yeah, I'm starting to.
But look at this, the label, right?
It's beautiful.
It's like
It's a piece of art.
the whole cigar is just the label.
Yeah.
It's a very, very nice label.
Oh, it's lovely.
It's quite oily as well in terms of
Actually,
the wrapper.
when you went to that event,
Yeah.
I think the son of the founder of Iper Carrillo was there, right?
He was there, yeah. I tried to get a picture with him, but but this guy was always just surrounded by people, and he was
I can
only
imagine.
there in the beginning of the event, and then
You
he
can just
left.
imagine Twalam just following him around.
No, I wasn't that creepy, man.
Looking for a picture. So we're gonna do
So generally, with the cuts of block presses, I like to cut them
V
yeah, in a V that is horizontal.
like
If that
this.
makes any sense.
Like this.
Yeah. Yes, exactly like that.
Oh, nice.
That's how I prefer to cut them.
Thank you. And why is that?
Just-
That cutter, man, they sounded nice.
With the feel of the mouth, and with the way that it holds as well. I think it just like box the box
Looks like a shark mouth.
pressed. That's so nice.
Looks like shark's mouth.
So generally, I feel that with box presses, they don't cut that well with round cutters, just because of the awkwardness of the shape of the box press.
I'm getting cold draw. I'm getting sweet.
Yeah, I'm getting I want to say
Like strawberry.
dark sweetness,
Yeah.
like a dried kind of a fruit, maybe
Like a dried strawberry.
Yeah,
Yep, there is berries. Get
I think
tea infused berry.
Tea infused.
I think whenever I do cold draws on these on a Maduro, I always get a kind of a dried fruity.
So this is a Maduro
sweetness.
leaf.
I believe so. Yeah.
So Maduros are generally, I would say, stronger. Right.
So apparently it depends. The strength of a cigar it doesn't necessarily come from
The wrapper,
from the wrapper. Well, what the Maduro leaf generally is, it's a leaf that's been fermented a lot longer
Right.
than other leaves. So it has the time to develop these, let's just say, sweeter notes.
The smell of the cigar. This smell of this cigar is something.
Smells a lot heavier, like darker.
Yeah.
I think it's quite different from what you've smoked before, Adam.
Yep.
I don't think you ever smoked a Maduro leaf.
Honestly, I don't think I've smoked a cigar that was that one cigar of the year on the
So what
aficionado list.
this one, the cigar?
This is the first one, that one in 2020.
So just the first,
It's tasty.
yeah, the first draw. It's it's got a very deep kind of flavor. I think that some of the lighter cigars you get more nuanced. I think this is more of a deep, concentrated flavor.
Like tobacco
Yeah.
flavor, yeah.
Oh, it's quite smoky
that
as
is
well.
something. Smoky.
Like
A cigar is smoky.
with the output, it's quite
Yeah.
heavy. And the
You think it's
pepper,
because of the shape? Or
I don't know, but with me the pepper is kicking in a bit after.
Yeah.
It's not immediate.
Oh,
like an aftertaste kind of peppery thing?
So that's quite heavy. That's you're gonna feel this. You're gonna need an afternoon nap after this. I think.
I'm getting a creamy wood notes.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Like it,
A lot
it
of
coats
wood.
your mouth. Like and with the same way with let's say that you're having ice cream.
Yeah.
With the way that fat coats your mouth. Generally with this cigar, I feel that it's coating my mouth
Yeah.
with that flavor of like woody, of like of a sweet liquid. I can't tell what the sweetness is yet.
That is something. That's a very strong cigar.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's heavy on the pepper as well. Like the tingliness of the tongue. With me.
this is something else.
I'm glad that we had that breakfast before we jumped
Yeah,
into this.
yeah, honestly, yeah. And I think as we were talking, we're like, yeah, we don't want to smoke something that much heavy, and then we ended up smoking something that is heavy. But it's a nice heavy smoke.
Yeah.
Plus, it's the weekend, so
It's,
enjoying this.
it's unassuming, right? Because it's quite a small cigar, robusto size, and most of it's covered up with a wrapper,
Yeah,
with a sticker.
but it packs a punch.
But it's like
it's like a wafer chocolate kind of thing. It's like, it's gonna be fine. And then,
It looks innocent
yeah,
it's
from
definitely
the outside.
I think you need to rest it for a while and not smoke it so fast, otherwise we're going to be knocked out.
Yeah. No, that's
So, what do you think of the event you went to, the EP Carrillo?
I really enjoyed it. I tried to kind of take some videos and pictures of the cigar itself, but then I realized that like with the noise and the music and with the people and all that kind of stuff, I realized it made more sense to just go in and socialize.
Yeah.
With the people, with the cigar community. I met a couple of interesting people as well. People that generally one of the people I met at works out have a cigar at lounge every day, so they basically are inside a lounge every day. They have their laptops and they smoke a couple of cigars on a daily basis. Which is honestly like I could never smoke 2 cigars a day every day. I wouldn't be able to.
No, you said that even in
function.
the event there were people that are smoking like 3,
Yeah,
4 cigars.
So what happened in the event when I got over there, I noticed people. So the event was 8 o'clock. I showed up at around 10. I noticed people were smoking a cigar. And I realized that they brought their own, right? I didn't bring any because I just thought we were gonna be smoking the cigar that was being launched. And then around maybe at 40 minutes in, they came out with a tray to give out that cigar. So people started smoking that, and then an hour after that, they brought out a tray with another cigar. So like there was a few people that probably smoked 3 cigars in the space of like 3 hours, and I could barely get through one cigar when I was there.
On the Tuesday event, you had a full Churchill, and then you wanted another one.
Yeah, honestly, I was enjoying that night, and I felt that the Churchill, that it finished at least for me quite quickly. So I was ready to try another one, but
But then
yeah.
your sentence came in and kicked you.
Yeah, but I'm like, you know what? If I to have another one, I might pass out on the table. So I might as well call it a night. So yeah, so with the first a few puffs of this, it's been very very. Can you guys get what that sweetness is? Can you put a name on the sweetness? Like can you put a profile on it? With the retrohale.
Yeah, I'm getting almonds.
I took sweet almonds.
Yeah. What were you at?
You know, the old Adham would say I'm getting Irish cream, Bailey's, but yeah, no, I don't know yet.
Wait, Ramadan's coming up, bro.
I've always found like Irish cream Baileys an interesting looking drink.
Yeah,
Like it looks like milk.
exactly. Like a brown, like a beige milk.
Yeah, like a milkshake kind of thing.
Yeah.
What does it actually taste?
So it's cream, but has that alcohol kind of kick to it. So it's like you're putting like alcohol in a heavy cream and just drinking it. But there's nothing. I don't know. There's nothing because they have multiple ones, right? They have ones that are infused, like has a little bit of orange taste, some with
Okay.
like toffee taste. But the original one, yeah, it's a bit tasteless. And the thing is, you use it in cocktails. You don't usually like drink it straight
Oh,
up.
I've never heard of a cocktail from Bailey's.
So you use it so you can do like an Irish coffee. So you can put an espresso with it. So it becomes more of a brunch kind of coffee. But you can also drink it by itself, but you have to put some whipped cream on top and just make it a bit less.
Just over ice.
Yeah. But yeah, usually I just see people do it in like coffee drinks.
Right.
Are you guys getting like a dark caramel sweetness?
Yeah.
A touch on the retrohale,
Yeah.
and then it goes away.
I'm getting it from the smell of your smoke.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm getting it well.
Which means that you might get it on the retrohale, not necessarily on the draw.
Okay.
Yeah, on the retrohale I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Just it comes and then it goes away.
Yeah.
This is one of the most nuanced cigar I think I've smoked. It's you're like halfway through it.
I don't know how.
Still.
You're gonna be smoking the whole tray soon. Look at the smoke. I don't know if they can see it pick up on the camera,
Yeah.
but it's lingering.
And the
It's
finish,
because the AC is not on
It's
as well. so-
incredible, right?
and the finish is quite long. So when you're done with the draw, it lingers on the palate.
That's what she said.
And one thing also with the ash, it's quite
Fine, it's
loose
an
in
18
mine.
plus podcast episode. It's okay.
Yeah. We're trying to keep this podcast PG.
No, we're not.
You can, we're smoking on the podcast. I don't
We
think
can't
there's
even because
anything PG
the
in it.
content.
We're gonna.
There's no way it can be PG.
There's gonna be a paid version.
With your new
Only on Patreon will be charged.
Might not be Patreon. Might be another website.
Yeah.
it's an affiliate basically that you found.
Yeah. Like the less upset about that, the better. Oh man. So I haven't really been following financial news this week. I've just been basically
Smoking cigars, going to events.
smoking cigars and events most of the time. Have you guys been keeping up at all?
Yes. So, what's happening this week is yesterday there was a big retrench in the stock market, in the U.S. stock market. There was, I think the S&P 500 was down like 1.5% on the Friday. What date was it yesterday?
On the 21st.
21st of
21st.
February.
Of February.
There was a big retrench. So, stock market's down because of major uncertainty within the new administration. They're putting tariffs on. There's a lot of consumers are scared to spend right now. What we're finding is like Walmart's numbers are showing that there's less consumer spending. So there seems to be a lot of uncertainty, people not wanting to spend money. So the economy is not doing as great as it was. So the stock market's a wee bit scared. And that's why there's been a bit of a sell-off. But like I always say, if there's a sell-off, especially this deep sell-off, that means that there's amazing buying opportunity
Yeah.
if you're sitting on cash. But also it means that this is why you have to be diversified, right?
Yeah.
You can't have all your money in Tesla and Bitcoin like some people.
Yeah, like some people.
Would you say this is the beginnings of the bear market? Possibly.
No,
So you
I don't
still
believe it.
think that we're in a bull?
I
think it's a correction for a
yeah,
bit.
it's just a small correction. I think the new administration is pushing a very firm America First agenda, which is right now creating uncertainty. But I believe during the Trump tenure, you will see economic activity picking up. Because if you put tariffs on imports, it forces people to buy locally, right?
Yeah.
So I think that will show in the figures of the S&P 500 companies in the next few quarters, and I think the stock market will pick back up. It's already been on an incredible run the last 2 years. Right? I think last year was up like 25%. The year before that, nearly 30%. So there is going to be a slight calming, especially with the new administration. And I wouldn't put all my eggs into the one basket, but I would still keep exposure. Maybe I would sit on a little bit of cash just in case it comes a bit lower, then you can buy back in and reduce your averages. But I'm a firm believer in diversification. I've had some really interesting meetings this week. So I had a cigar meeting on Monday. I had this cigar event on Tuesday. Then Wednesday, I had another meeting for cigars. But I told the guy, look, I am kind of cigared out right now. So I had coffee with him. Thursday, I had another cigar meeting. And yesterday, we were planning to go for another meeting, but then we thought, let's just keep it for Saturday. And now we're here Saturday and we're smoking another cigar. So what I've learned this week in my various cigar meetings is that the economic activity that you're finding is relatively temporary. Now, I spoke to a private equity firm yesterday, and he was saying that the opportunities that they're seeing is in mid market.
Okay.
So they look at buying companies which have a turnover of about or no, not turnover, a market cap of about 100 million to 1 billion. So, and they look at industries that are not sexy, right? So you're looking at maybe an infrastructure company, and they're looking at geographies like Saudi Arabia and India. So I think that's where I want to put some diversification risk. I want to put it into these growing economies and diversify away a little bit from the US. So what the portfolio would look like is maybe 50% in the S&P 500, maybe 20-25% in real estate, maybe 20% in private equity and startups, and maybe 5% in Bitcoin.
Oh, you finally.
Let's just say this is that this is not financial advice. We're just talking here, and everybody has to do their own research.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's just keep that on.
This is
Thanks
for the compliance.
But that's quite interesting. So, like, I just want to ask a question in regards to the beginning of what you just said. How you said tariffs might basically make the U.S. market pick up. Generally speaking, aren't tariffs a bad thing in terms of, like, it reduces competition, which makes businesses not as effective, etc., etc.
See, I think people don't really understand what a tariff is.
Yeah. So what? I mean, let's just break it.
So if you put a tariff of
down a
say
bit.
25% on Chinese steel, right? That means when the importer's importing it, he needs to pay 25% more to buy that steel. Obviously, he's going to pass that down to the consumer. So if he keeps buying it from the same source, then the price of steel in the country is going up. But if he can find alternatives for that steel, say in the US, then he doesn't have to pay that tariff, right? So it's cheaper to buy it in the US.
And it also passes down to the consumer. Let's say that you're used to buying steel that's coming from X country, and now because the prices have gone up, you're gonna look for alternatives as a consumer. And you're gonna start buying steel from other retailers that are bringing steel that is from the US, right?
So you'd say it will just encourage businesses to start building everything in house and
And that's
not
the
in
whole
house,
plan.
local basically.
Yeah, so that's the whole plan, is that they want again the US economy have taken a hit in the last bunch of years, and the new administration is just they want that economy to go back into being, a strong one. And the first thing you do is that you self-sustain on the manufacturing of your own country.
But the problem with that is, okay, maybe you put a tariff on steel, but what does that mean? That means that you're effectively penalizing China for that steel. So what are they gonna do?
We'll
They're
do the
gonna
same
they're
thing.
gonna do the same thing to you.
Yeah,
And they're
exactly.
gonna say, okay, now tariff or whatever we're buying from the US, we're putting tariffs on that. So then actually jobs are being lost in the US.
Yeah,
That's what happened with Canada, right? They imposed, say, tariffs on Canada. Canada said, okay, well, we'll put
tariffs on
tariffs on
the
on the US, and
they backed out a bit.
the jobs in mid America are reliant on those industries. They're going to be lost, and those are the Trump supporters. So he had to quickly call Trudeau and say, "Oh, we've come to a deal, and you know, it's postponed for 30 days." Same with Mexico. Tariffs on Mexico had to call. Oh, it's been postponed for 30 days. It's not. That's the thing with geopolitics and the economy. There's no one aspect that can be changed without it having a butterfly effect on the rest of the economy.
So technically, there's always gonna be some kind of opportunity cost.
There's
No,
there's
no matter
always,
what thing you choose.
yeah, exactly. It's like that's the problem that the US is having, is, and every economy has, is it's like having a duvet cover. If you pull it, then you're taking it away from
One end.
one end. If you pull it that way, then you're taking it away from somewhere else.
Just need to balance it out. It's
It has to be balanced. It has to come out from somewhere, and that's the thing with the US is, if they're talking about Elon Musk with Dodge, they're trying to reduce the spending of the country. The thing is, if you reduce, for example, US aid, then US will have less influence around the world.
Yep.
If you reduce spending on the military, right, you have less jobs in the military complex in the US. And if you increase the spending, then you're taking it away from somewhere else, because you're running at a deficit. The US economy is running at a huge deficit. They're borrowing more than they're bringing in. So there's no cure. There's no silver bullet. They're, I think what they're doing is window dressing a little bit by saying, "Oh, we're cutting costs here, there," but ultimately, mark my word, give me 2 3 years time, I don't think there'll be a major difference to the deficit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you reduce a few billion, you actually need to reduce trillions. And are these guys really going to reduce trillions?
No, there's no way. Yeah.
Because that would mean cutting complete industries
And the
and
problem with that
departments.
as well. Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the problem with that as well is, is that what if the next administration decides
Yeah,
to change plans? So like there's no continuity in the decisions each administration is going to take.
that's the thing, that there's so much self-interest.
Yeah.
Like, somebody just posted a tweet of Elon Musk's from 2 3 years ago where he was saying, "Go Ukraine," and the Ukrainian flag was posted, and now it's like, no, actually, maybe Ukraine started the war, and it's like,
It's whatever serves the interest, right?
Yeah,
whoever serves the interest, right?
of their business or whatever. So I think that we're all
I
entered.
think you're almost done.
No, I'm taking a break because I was a bit enthusiastic in the beginning, but I think generally we're all in the second third, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm loving it, to be honest.
I think that the strength and the pepper have slightly like reduced, and it's
Yeah.
just becoming a lot smoother for me. With the sweet notes are still prominent, and the like woody, kind of creamy like notes are still prominent as well. But the strength, it's reduced a bit to like make it a lot like, more smoother.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys, if I sometimes zone out while I'm listening to you.
It's fine.
It's
We,
like
we like seeing your
I
face
zoned out.
enjoying
By the
the
way,
smoke.
when you went on that, Hada,
Yeah.
I just was just focused on
yeah.
my
Sometimes
smoke.
it's like you're listening to a podcast being recorded, and you're just smoking a cigar and enjoying the conversation.
Yeah.
So talking about diversification, my wife does some social media uh, events. She goes to the events and promotes it on her Instagram. So today she's been invited to the one of the it's the launch week of House of Hype in
Okay.
Dubai Mall.
What's House of Hype?
House of Hype. It's like a Gen Z theme park kind of thing where you can go and each room has a different kind of world where you can take videos and
Oh, it's the Instagram kind of. Okay.
I was
exactly.
about to say, by the way, I was just about to say, make a joke to say, so is it a place where you can just take a bunch of selfies?
Yeah, that's exactly
That's
it.
what they're
exactly
doing,
what it
yeah.
is.
That's
is.
exactly it.
That's so funny.
And you pay money to go in and take selfies, so you post them.
That's exactly it. So that's one of my new investments.
Nice.
So yeah,
Are you investing like money or just the time to go there and look at it?
about both things.
Okay, nice.
So it's it's quite an interesting company because it's backed by Sega,
Okay.
and they launched the first one in Wafi Mall actually, and that was super popular. That they then opened up in Riyadh, and now opened up this week in Dubai Mall. And they've had all the influencers from UAE coming in and making videos, and
Tell them to get a corner where it looks like a small mini cigar lounge,
I was about to say, well, they just
and
let
we
us.
record there one day.
Well, they just rent us out a room for a few hours.
it's in the Chinatown.
Okay, but by the way, in the Chinatown, the other day I was there with my dad. There is a supermarket. It's called something Hippo. I think.
Yeah, next to the big panda.
Yeah, I just love the products that come from like Korea, from Japan, from China. They have such cool flavors when it comes to Oreos and
Yeah.
Kit Kats.
Kit Kat, yeah.
So I went there and I just found like every single flavor you can think of. And then all in my head, I was like, am I gonna find a cigar Oreo, basically?
Cigar flavored Oreo.
Yeah, and because they do everything, like
They do
everything,
everything, yeah.
whatever you think of, you can find, which is kind of weird. Like there's a grapes flavored Oreo. There's peach flavored Oreos. Like
The green tea.
yeah, the matcha, the green tea, the wasabi. Like yeah,
Have you been there, Paul?
Honestly, I've passed into Chinatown,
They have a food court there as well.
but I've never been inside it
there's
properly.
a nice hot pot place.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about it.
They have
Really?
like 10 different. They have a food court with like 10 outlets.
It's been a while since I've been to Dubai Mall. Honestly, it's been quite a while.
Are you banned?
Not banned, but like generally on weekends we just do kid related activities, play dates and the such. With
Your
with
kid's,
cousin Louis.
your kid's 1 year old. How could he have played it?
The playdates are for
you'd
the
be
grown-ups, to be honest. It's just
surprised with the
they-
amount of energy
excuse.
that they have inside of them, and they just want to explore every
At 1 year
aspect
old?
of their house. At 1 year old, yeah, that's when they're like running around everywhere, putting their trying to put their fingers in sockets and all that.
And you guys are
So-
just sitting there and watching them. Like, look.
you
a nice
try
activity.
to entertain them like as much as you can, but then for the kid at some point it gets repetitive. Like if I were to show you the pictures that they take at her like nursery, there's different activities all throughout the day, so they're constantly exploring and getting into a bunch of different like um, different activities. So on weekends, it's just generally trying to kind of get all their energies out, so that they sleep throughout the night. And then at night we've been attempting to watch Severance, but every episode we start, at some point the episode, like she it wakes up and one of us has to go upstairs and put her back down. So we've barely finished 3 episodes in like a week and a half. But I'm really enjoying
There's a solution to that. Just turn the baby monitor off.
it. Yeah, and yeah.
You
can't
won't get
do it.
disturbed.
Or just
That's
noise
true.
cancelling headphones and watch it from that.
And watch it.
You won't even hear what's happening around.
Honestly, I might actually. I bought a jack, like a headphone jack with two outlets, and I'm just gonna tell my wife, let's just watch it in bed, put her headphones on, and if she wakes up, then we can just like put her back down to sleep. But talking of Severance, have you guys watched that show?
No, not seen it. I heard it's amazing.
Yeah, me too. So we
I haven't.
really get into it. What shows have you guys been kind of watching these days?
The last thing I watched was Mo. I still have 2 episodes to finish the second season.
You mentioned it
I finished it all.
on the worker group, I think, at some point.
I finished it all.
Did you enjoy it?
Actually, Adam started watching it, told me about it. I've finished it all, and he's still not.
I had my dad over, and that took the guy only watches Lost. He's been like, he called me yesterday when he landed in Amman, and I thought that he's calling me because he misses me or whatever. He's like, yo, can you go back home and check on your Netflix what episode I'm on?
That's brilliant.
And I'm like, thanks, Dad. I miss you too. So I had to go ahead and tell him. Like he finished like a season and a half in a week at my place.
In a week.
I thought you were gonna say he called you and asked, "Are you wearing the watch?"
No, I didn't.
But Lost, if I remember, it was one of the first TV shows that I watched in high school. I remember that the first two big shows, or like series that
Yeah, it was
came
Lost
out.
and Breaking Bad. I think.
No, not Breaking Bad, and Prison Break.
Yeah, Prison
It
Break.
was,
Sorry, Prison Break. Prison Break. Yeah.
Lost and Prison Break. Everybody was watching these two shows.
Yeah.
And everybody just had one favorite. Oh, I prefer Prison Break, and others preferred like Lost. Funnily enough, both of the shows I didn't finish. I think I stopped midway.
Because they go into a point where
Same.
like
Once you break out of prison, there's pointless having a show called Prison Break.
Yeah.
And Lost, as soon as you're no longer lost, what's the
exactly.
point of the
Yeah.
show
like
called
you can
Lost?
leave any minute, but you're going back in time.
It got pretty confusing at some point for me, that I just like lost interest.
Yeah.
What I watched last night, and it was basically 3 episodes, is a new show on Netflix called The Greatest Rivalry, India versus Pakistan cricket.
Is it like a documentary?
Yeah,
Like,
3
sort-
episodes, and watched it all last night, up till 2 in the morning watching it.
Is it good?
Was so good.
Would you
So
would you
good.
recommend it to a person that
100%.
doesn't understand the
100%.
game? Will
So-
it be
Oh yeah.
a good way to kind of get into the
Yeah.
game of cricket?
So what they do is they juxtaposition the game of cricket between India and Pakistan versus the geopolitics between India and Pakistan, and they layered it. So they talk about how the politics affects the game. So there are certain times when the countries were friendlier, the games were getting played. Then there was times when there was times of war, and then no games were being played, and talks about how that affects the relations between the countries. It's really interesting, and that was the golden. They talk about the golden generation of cricket between the two nations was 90s and 2000s. So it basically focuses on those 2 decades, and that is like that's what made me fall in love with cricket was 90s. The team, Pakistan cricket team at that time was like the equivalent of what the Brazil or Argentina football team is like. They had so much talent; it was unbelievable. But now it's like no talent whatsoever.
And with India, is it their time right now?
India's always pretty strong, but
So
Pakistan's just not. I think today's tomorrow's the game between Pakistan and India here in Dubai, because they can't play in Pakistan or India, so the game is here in
So
Dubai.
if you were so now that you've compared Pakistan to and you gave them that kind of South American flair of
Yeah,
Brazilian Argentinian football, how would you classify India? Is it more of like European kind of
yeah, they're more like
efficiency, like Germany?
Germany. Yeah. They've always been very efficient, very good. Maybe never had the flair players of Pakistan, but very efficient,
But know how to win kind of thing.
know how to win. Some superstars, of course, and they always had superstars. But even then, like Germany's always had superstars as well. Right?
Mm.
Who's the other the countries that are outside of Asia that are really strong and competes, like South Africa,
South
Australia?
Africa, Australia,
Okay.
England
England,
and the
those are the
Caribbeans,
main-
I believe, have.
West Indies. Again, they were very good in the 80s and 90s. Less so now. Nowadays, well, I've not really been watching a lot of cricket because Pakistan's so rubbish. But what I understand is, like, Australia is very strong, India's strong, England's pretty strong.
How close is it to like baseball?
To baseball,
I feel that that's like
quite similar.
that's like a bit of a like it's a question that comes from a place of pure ignorance.
No,
you know what I mean?
it's
No,
not.
I
It's
mean,
not.
It's a stick in
No,
stick in a ball.
seriously.
No,
It's not.
actually, it's
Like,
not.
Because I've read, like I tried
I think
to
they come from the
understand
same
both.
kind of place. Yeah.
Yeah, so I tried to understand both at some point. Didn't like they do have similar rules, but not really that similar.
Yeah.
I don't
It's like-
understand
it's
the
like
scoring
saying-
of each, but both way both.
It's
of
like
the
it's like
sports they
saying like
score.
how close is rugby and American football?
Exactly. They both come from the same similar source. And same with cricket and baseball. They have innings. They have one person who's throwing the ball, one person who's batting the ball. They have fielders.
And they have runs.
They have runs.
They have runs.
So it's relatively similar, just in a different format. But like even baseball, right? I got into that over the last couple of years. During COVID, when I was just sitting in the house, I was like, waking up in the morning, I was like, which sport is on now? Baseball is on, so I started getting into baseball. It's actually really interesting because you got a thin bat, you got a ball, and you don't have to bounce the ball, right? You have to throw the ball, pitch the ball directly, and you have to try to hit it.
And the speeds at which the professional
speed's
baseball
incredible.
players like throw are insane.
Yeah.
And one of the most amazing and surprising things about baseball is how often they play. Like football, they'll play maybe on a Saturday, and then maybe the following Saturday, or if there's European
League.
games, midweek. Baseball, they will play almost on a daily basis.
Really?
Oh, seriously, it's crazy. Like almost on a daily, they'll play like 90 games in a season of like 6 months.
Wow.
Dude, in cricket as well, a game can last multiple days.
I was about to ask, what's up with those cricket games that are like 24 hours plus?
No,
How does that
there's no 24 hours games.
how does that work?
How it works is the original format of cricket is called a test match, which is 5 days. So you play for say 7 hours a day for 5 days, and each team gets 2 turns to bat. So that's why it's a long day from like 11 in the morning till like 6 p.m. and then you come again next day, 5 days. And in those 5 days, depending on who scored the most runs, you either one of the teams wins, or if you aren't able to finish all 4 innings, then it could be a draw.
So if you're, a fan,
Free up a week.
you'd literally have to take a week off just to kind of watch everything because you're there from the morning until the evening.
So that's why
Just,
the
just
people
watching that game.
the people at the stadium watching it are generally like retired men in their 60s,
that are
70s.
free.
And that's why then they brought out the 1 day cricket, which was basically is finished within 7 hours. And then what's happened recently over the last 10 years is T20 cricket become really popular, which is each team bats for 20 overs, so the match is done in about 3-4 hours, and that's become really popular now between countries. Then they have the Indian Premier League, the Pakistan League. So these are becoming very, very popular. The Indian Premier League is like the English Premier League
English,
equivalent.
and it's easier to watch as well.
It's easier
'cause,
to
you know, yeah,
watch. It's more entertaining. It concludes faster. So that's the way cricket's been going. Just shorter formats, and there's more entertainment. There's people like celebrating. They have performers dancing when somebody scores a run, 6 runs or something, or gets out. Music blasting, like
So I've heard, Omar,
Yeah.
that you have an interesting piece of news or announcement that you know you'd like to share. That's a bit exclusive. We don't know yet.
I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you.
Hmm?
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about it.
Or I've heard there's a new launch coming.
Yeah, so that's what I've heard. I might get in trouble for it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So my understanding is where we're sitting, the Vintage Cigar Lounge, they are gonna open up a new lounge in the DIFC and the Innovation Tower, the one where Sexy Fish is. And it's gonna be a DIFC lounge, which obviously will have amazing views, will have amazing decor, and it's very, very, very needed because in the DIFC, we've been smoking cigars a lot, right? There's the Arts Club, which only lets in members. There's Churchill in Four Seasons, which is only open from 5 o'clock onwards.
Peacock Alley.
There's Peacock
Well,
Alley, which we normally go to, but it's not really a cigar lounge per se. It's more like a hotel lobby where you can smoke cigars. And people are also there smoking cigarettes and vaping and having meetings and stuff. There's no dedicated cigar lounge that's open throughout the day in the DIFC. And I think that's the niche that these guys will fill. So that would be really good. So when we're in the DIFC, we can have a place to go and smoke cigars, and maybe that'll be somewhere we can film podcasts as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like generally. I'd say that there's a concentration of lounges in the DIFC. In the city, it's where the majority of lounges I feel are. It's
think
in
that's
the DIFC and the Palm probably
Yeah.
are the two spots where it's
If you
concentrated.
think about it, DIFC is where basically the majority of
Business
cigar
meetings and cigar-
smoking,
yeah,
the cigar smoking community
executives.
basically work,
Yeah.
and the Palm is where they live.
Yeah.
And then there's us, where we fit into the new cigar community that's been building up, where
Yeah.
we're making it a bit more
Accessible.
accessible.
Yeah. 100%. It's been. I would say that this explosion of interest in cigars, especially in people that you don't expect to be cigar smokers, because it's always been associated with a highly successful people in specific
Like you.
kind of niches, it's like lawyers, businessmen,
Yeah.
just finance guys, etc., etc. And there's just been and I'm not sure if it's just within the region or just this has been happening worldwide post COVID, but there's been an interest in the art of smoking generally with young men, younger to like middle-aged men, I'd say, where it's been really, really picking up.
I love how he said like young men, and then he looked at
Yeah.
you, Omar, was like,
And then I
young to
realized
middle-aged
that
men.
we count as like middle-aged at this point. Like we're not that young anymore.
But I was just doing some thinking around why cigar smoking is becoming more popular in the Middle East, and I was just thinking to myself, like, if you go, like for example, like I was talking about having cigar meetings this week. If I go to a dedicated place with somebody to have a discussion, I'm going to that place for a purpose, and that is to share a cigar with somebody. And when we go to that place and we sit and we meet, what's the first thing we have to do? We have to first decide on the cigar we're going to smoke.
Yeah.
We have to cut it. We have to light it. So that's already a collaborative effort, and that we're doing together. So that's already the bonding has started, right? Because we're cutting something, we're lighting together.
You already established like a kind of agreement between you and the other
Exactly.
party.
It's a tentative agreement that for the next
One
one
hour,
hour,
yeah.
1 hour, half hours, we're going to sit together and we're going to talk. There's no distractions. We're not leaving for those an hour and a half until we finish the cigar. And we could be eating something, we could be drinking coffee, but we know we're sitting there and we're going to talk. So that means that effectively you're investing that hour or an hour and a half into that conversation. So that can lead to a much deeper connection, much deeper level of discussion. And it's similar to, I think, how our CEO Rez has meetings over shisha. While you're having that shisha, it's going to take you an hour and a half, and you're going to have your discussions. I think it's much different having a discussion in a shisha place, which is a lot more casual, as opposed to being in a cigar lounge, which is a little bit more formal. So it's a more formal discussion. I think being in a shisha place would be a more casual discussion, more
Yep.
friendly kind of thing. So
And less private, I think.
unless
Because
private,
of the way that shisha cafes are built versus cigar lounges, and even in cigar lounges, when you look at most of them have private rooms, which is also nice, where you can go in and just isolate yourself for that specific reason. But also the way that the couches or the tables are set up, they're kind of like a closed basically space, right?
yeah.
As opposed to like a shisha lounge where it's like an open kind of space with like a bunch of tables and chairs.
And there's music, and there might be
Yeah,
football
exactly.
going on.
100%.
Might be loud. People are shouting at each other, fighting maybe. The funny thing is, one of the meetings I was saying, we had it over coffee. So we had it at Amazi Cafe in Business Bay, and we were sitting outside, and it was during Gulf food, so the traffic was insane. Traffic jams everywhere, and so being outside drinking coffee as opposed to being inside a cigar lounge, we were watching, traffic go by and people go by, and there was a huge fight that happened right outside the cafe.
Yeah.
So two cars were going, and I don't know, one didn't give way, whatever. They started screaming at each other. Then they motioned to each other to go park, and they both parked in the side, and they both got out, and they were screaming at each other for like 20 minutes and making phone calls and screaming at each other, and we were just sitting there like middle of a meeting, and we were just watching them having this fight. So I thought, next time I meet this guy, I need to maybe take him for a cigar. You don't have these issues.
So, I think I entered my the final third of mine, and you guys are probably still comfortably in the second third.
Second, third, I'm getting
At least
leather.
Omar's.
I'm getting strong leather.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's picking up in terms of the strength as well. For me, the pepper notes are a lot more prominent, I'd say, and with the sweet notes are gone at this point, at least on my cigar.
I'm just in love with the box shape.
It's
The draw is perfect. The burn is really nice. And I think a lot of it is influenced because of the shape of it.
That's possibly very true. I know with me, I've noticed I started getting into the box shape just because of the cut, and also I really enjoy lanceros. I cut them usually with a punch, and I
cut them with a punch.
I punch them with a punch, or I open them up with a punch. And I think if we
Puncture them with a punch, probably.
in Ramadan, if we can, enjoy a lancero, I'd really like. technically we smoked and with a solid the Azul was a Lancero, but
Azul.
it wasn't that true Lancero,
What do you mean?
because with a Lancero is usually it's a lot skinnier and longer, so it's almost probably I think it's the length of a Churchill even, but the ring gauge is really small, and I really enjoy like the delicateness of that cigar. You can't smoke it quick. You have to be very gentle with it.
I'm getting quite lightheaded with this smoke. It's quite
It's
quite heavy.
It's not a morning smoke, that's for sure.
It's not a morning smoke.
But it's an enjoyable one. And I think it's kind of like an occasion kind of smoke.
Yeah, and I've noticed with the majority of the cigars that win cigar of the year, it's usually, it's a cigar that packs a lot of flavor in it.
Yeah.
It's never one that you can like, consider to be a morning smoke.
I think if aficionados do like cigars to be a bit heavy,
Yeah.
when it comes to the wrapper itself, the cigar itself. So I don't know if have you ever seen like a cigar of the year being won for like a really light
Connecticut.
cigar?
Yeah, no, not really. And what I've, like for the forums that I read, people are not that. As people who are into cigars and not really fond of the Connecticut wrappered cigars as much.
Because their palates are also used to like
Exactly.
heavy
Heavier
cigars.
smokes.
So for them, smoking that is like breathing air.
I enjoy a lighter smoke every now and then. You know, especially if it's in the morning, or if I'm not, or if I haven't had a decent like meal, but where I go now for a smoke, I'd rather generally just have like a lighter smoke at that point. So
I'm just getting a lot of leather.
But-
Strong leather.
yeah,
Especially in the retro hill. Oof. It's, this tiny cigars really kicked me.
yeah. I think I'm reaching a point where I'm probably going to, I will not be able to smoke this all the way down to the nub.
I
It's
think
really strong.
That's why if you're pairing it with cold coffee, it's really helpful because the coldness
Eases
of
it up a
the
bit, yeah.
and it coats your mouth in cold coffee, then it just eases the intensity of the strong cigar. Ooh. I just think I think I just discovered something. A strong Maduro leaf cigar with a cold V60 is a beautiful pairing because you got the delicate tones of the coffee against the strong Maduro cigar.
Nice. We'll try it next time we smoke something with the Maduro wrapper. And I don't know, man. I just love this shape. And I'm really excited to one day smoke the Plasencia, the hexagon.
Yeah,
That's a really nice shape. It's a unique one.
it's unique. But if you noticed, at the the end that you cut, it's a
It's
normal
a
shape.
yeah, of course. I mean,
But like you said, I'm interested just to see how the burn will be on.
but do
on
you think
hexagon
that
shape.
because when I was looking at the pictures of that event, the Plasencia event, they gave out also like a Plasencia lighter, which I'm so jealous. I love the
Yeah.
look of that lighter. That is one sexy lighter.
I'm kind of like yeah. I know that we ended up going to a Carrillo event, but we were speaking like we should be trying to go to all of these events.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get into what's being like launched, all that kind of stuff. It's quite enjoyable.
The thing is, they also gave out cutters at that event, and the cutter actually did have a hexagon shape.
Oh,
That's
wow.
so cool.
Yeah, so I think if you cut the Plasencia with that hexagon shaped cutter, it will give you the hexagon shape
That's pretty cool.
when you're
That's
cutting
pretty
it.
cool.
Exactly, so it becomes like a full on hexagon shape
Yeah.
from there onwards. So yeah, it's just people. Again, the whole industry of cigars is getting more and more creative. It's always been creative. It's always been like an art to come up with, and that's what we were talking about the other day. But it's getting even more and more creative now. So
Yeah, I had a lovely chat with the owner of Vintage Lounge and Amirati Cigars this morning, and it's always amazing talking to Amir Tamimi. But he was telling me about some of his own personal collection of cigars, and he was telling me about the one that he was smoking. So he gets 30 cigars for the month, and he keeps them for next month. So the
So he
ones
ages
he's
them for like a month.
right? So the ones he's smoking today were basically he'd got them a month ago, and these were ones that are um, effectively aged in barrels where there has been um, other kinds of influence to that barrel. So it's infused with something else. The barrel takes the smell and the flavor of something else, and then you put the tobacco leaves in there for like 3 weeks, 2 3 weeks, and they take that influence from the barrel, the woodiness, the different kind of flavor, and that enhances the flavor of those cigars. And then they roll them. So yeah, that seems to be quite an interesting kind of subsector of cigars, which I've never ever tried. I've never really even heard of it. Right?
So at the Leaf Master, if you guys have been, you would notice on the wall they have in the back that they have these individuals cigars in test tubes, and in the bottom of the test tubes you can choose like a whiskey of your choice,
Oh.
and you can actually infuse that cigar with the whiskey of your choice.
Really?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I've never done it, but I think because generally I think what once you've smoked, you know, almost all the cigars at one point.
Yeah.
Okay, now you
Then
want to
you
start
can start
experimenting.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
I know what
that makes sense
that's
actually.
the whiskey I like. Let me
Yeah.
try to see that cigar I like if I blend them in.
I've seen a video of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and what he did was he took a cigar and he got a small brush and he dipped it in some alcohol and he brushed the
Tequila,
cigar.
I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
In the
He
tequila.
brushed the cigar, the outside of the cigar with that alcohol, and then he lit it up and smoked it.
Yeah, and he said like this is what he enjoys now, and yeah.
So there's a lot of creativity.
I think it doesn't even have to make sense for the masses. If it makes sense for you and you're enjoying it and you're liking it, so what?
So watch the space. Maybe I should get the chicken tikka masala and infuse
There
in cigars.
Yeah, infuse it.
You
Dip
can
it in the
infuse
sauce.
your cigar with mate.
With
See how it goes. I can
Get that
Months
caffeine
of
kick.
months of
Exactly,
infused.
Yeah, I can infuse it with a jamid and stuff, and that would be the heaviest thing you'll ever smoke.
Yeah.
That will knock you out for like a week. You won't be able to wake up after that.
Oh man, yeah.
But yeah, so have you ever seen or heard of a cigar infused with coffee? I know there's a lot of coffee notes when it comes to cigars.
They're
or chocolate.
flavored
not
cigars, the
flavored.
cheaper
Not-
ones.
No,
No,
generally,
not
but
flavored, but
infused.
infused.
infused. No.
So the same those kind of like test tubes that you were talking about, but instead of putting like whiskey down there, you just put I don't know coffee
I think it's just
or like
the fact.
coffee ground basically or coffee beans.
I think just generally because with the way that that an alcohol kind of is because of the alcohol content, that flavor infuses into it. But because coffee is a plant, right? So if you've noticed, generally with the majority, not majority, but with a significant number of cigars that you smoke, coffee is one of the probably a prominent tasting kind of note in in a lot of cigars, and I think it's just it has to do with the earth that it's grown on, right? So let's just I'm just so with the majority of vegetal kind of notes, coffee, let's just say nutty notes, generally all those notes it comes from the kind of soil that the tobacco is grown on.
So it's not something that you would typically infuse in a cigar after it's been rolled.
I don't know if you can. infuse it. You know, you probably I'm not an expert. Maybe it's
We should
just
build our
research.
own experimentation testing lab when we
Yeah.
get the.
It could be chocolate as well, right?
Yeah.
Because all these things like chocolate, coffee, maybe you can infuse them in a barrel. You need to do some research on that.
Yeah.
Tolham can be our look. He looks like someone you would put like a lab coat on, with his glasses.
I need a lab coat.
And he
Yeah.
goes in. Like, he has his suspenders over the lab coat.
Yeah.
Over the lab coat.
Over the lab coat. He's like doing his experiments.
The funny thing is, like,
cigars.
suspenders are actually supposed to be underwear. Right?
Honestly,
That's why people wear a waistcoat if they're wearing suspenders. Cover.
I'd wear a jacket if I had one that fits. But I've gained a significant amount of weight since I've had my kid.
So all those months of infused cigars got to you then, yeah?
No, it's most likely infused pastries that my mother-in-law was making. But yeah, at some point, inshallah, one of these episodes, I'm planning on just making a, just a jacket, especially for these episodes. So like a nice, like a light jacket.
So you'll wear the same thing on every episode.
Yeah, probably I'll wear the same thing until I can make another one. Just to say,
So yeah, I'm feeling quite lightheaded, and
Yeah.
that's reminded me of another bit of news that I needed to share with you guys. I'm full of news today, aren't I?
Yeah.
You guys ready?
It's like Saturday night live, Saturday morning live with
Exactly.
with Omar.
Yeah, it's just this lightheadedness. I don't know if it's a dream, but so we have a fan of the podcast in Scotland, and his name is Stuart. And what he's done is he's sent us some very limited edition Cuban cigars to smoke. So we need to get them and smoke them on a couple of episodes.
Yeah, first of all, big shout out to Stuart. Thank you so much for the cigars.
100%.
See those things that happen within the podcast. It makes it even feel more and more real, more and more that yes, we are getting somewhere with
That
this.
people are actually listening to this podcast and not just family and friends.
Yeah, and they're enjoying it with us, which is amazing. And we're just gonna continue in doing what we love, and hopefully what people are, love hearing. And
Yeah, and and also just an open invite to Stuart as well. Whenever he's in town, he's more than welcome to come and join us on one of these episodes.
Later on in this year, he said he's going to
smoking one of his cigars.
Do you want to tell us more about the cigars that you got? Because you shared us some pictures with them. They looked like amazing.
Yeah, so they're limited edition, I believe, from 2010 to 2020.
Nice.
So they're aged as well as limited edition. So what he was saying was that these are very hard to get nowadays. So it was part of his collection, and he's kindly gifted it to us. And it's going to be quite interesting smoking these aged special edition cigars, and even better because they're gifts, right? I think I can remember every single cigar gift that I've received, and I think that's a good way of gifting somebody. Because when they then, because obviously they'll keep it in the humidor. Every time they see the humidor, they'll remember you, and when they smoke it, they'll be remembering you, like your gift. So people out there, it's a great way to give cigar smokers, give them a gift, but always know what you're giving. You don't want to, if somebody's into cigars, you don't want to be giving them something from the supermarket, right? You want to give them, go to a cigar shop, talk to them, talk to the owner, like go to Leaf Master, speak to Ride, and tell him, like, this guy, this is what he normally smokes. What kind of gift should I give him? Go to Casa del Habano for a Cuban and see what stock they have. That's what I would do.
Yeah. And the lovely thing when it comes, sorry, you'll get to there.
Yeah.
And the lovely thing about cigar shops, or at least retailers or humidors that are here in the country, it's like a free influx of information when you go there.
Oh yeah.
They don't mind helping you out. You can get whatever you want in terms of help, advice, and they are all really knowledgeable when it comes to the cigars that they have in stock, which is something that I really like. Right?
Yeah.
It's like walking into Apple shop for cigars.
Yeah, especially I'd say the kind of place I've been to where they probably like know every one of the cigars they have, is Leaf Master. They are very kind of knowledgeable on each one of the sticks that they have an offer. Um, and just to kind of just to mention, I've never had an aged a cigar. I don't know if you guys have had the pleasure of of enjoying an aged
Like an
smoke.
aged cigar? You mean like a personally aged cigar, or
So
something that you buy because it's
so basically
aged
no,
already?
so basically it's a Cuban, specifically a Cuban that has been aged, because that, from what I understand, they when they sell Cubans, it's never aged. It's
Unless
on
it's
the
a
launch.
limited edition, right? So if it's a limited edition Cuban, it's already been aged,
Really
and then if you age them further, of course they get better, right?
get better.
So these ones that Stuart sent, they're limited edition, so they've already been aged before they sold it, and they've been aged since he's bought them.
Yeah.
So these are
Double
going to be
aged.
exactly. So they'll be very special. And when we smoke them, we'll discuss about what the limited edition smoke is. We'll do some research around it,
Yeah,
and that could be something quite special for Ramadan, which is coming up
100%.
next month,
Next week.
next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
So I'm reaching the end of my smoke. I think I'll end it here because just with the pepperlick notes on mine have been getting very, very prominent.
Yeah.
But I'd say that the burn has been perfect all throughout. I never had to like relight it,
Yeah.
even once. And in terms of the kind of nuances of this is probably one one of the best Maduro smokes that I've had. Um, there is no kind of generally even at this point of the smoke, with the strength of the pepper, it's not a let's just say it's not an unpleasant
Yeah.
a kind of a strength. So like I thought that I couldn't smoke it down until the nub, but as you can see, I'm probably down to the nub, and and I'm still enjoying it.
Yeah, I think for I've never seen a cigar where the smoke just holds so much form
Yeah,
in the air, right? It just kind of like lingers
It's
above the
I think it's
smoke.
the oiliness of the cigar.
It could be, yeah.
yeah.
And the smell is just incredible, right?
It's quite yeah, like with the output is quite thick.
I think I hope it comes out in the camera
Yeah.
because
Yeah, look.
yeah, it kind of lingers there, right? So you can see it, and it just stays there for a good minute,
Yeah,
and that smell is just so good. And I think with me, I've still got about 1/3 to go.
yeah.
I'm gonna I'm gonna take a rest because it's really kicked me in the places you don't want to be kicked. So I'm gonna smoke this off camera.
Yeah.
The rest of it.
Yeah.
And again, a big shout out to Vintage Cigars by Amer Tamimi for giving us the space to record. Please come check them out. They have their own brand of Nicaraguan cigars. They have a new launch as
have a new
well that
launch,
they
yeah.
did last week, which is Amarati by Oliva. Churchill's, 3 really nice blends, go from light, medium to full-bodied. Make sure to come check them out, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, guys, this was a lot of fun,
Love you
and hopefully with the next episode will be an exciting one. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next one.
A special guest potential.
Potentially, yeah. That's yeah, can't wait for that one.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right,
See ya.
guys.